What's your sense? No wrong answers, unless it's 10. It sure would be nice to see my sensitivity through the years with a replay system. A replay system would allow me to review my footage and fine-tune my aim like never before. Sense does not matter. What does matter is the replay system's quality. A wise man. You get the gist. That's basically been every single Riot community post or Valorant community post on the Valorant YouTube channel. They'll post something and then the comments will be like,
where's my replay system?
So where is it? That seems to be the number one question going through most Valorant players' heads. That and probably where's my E-kitten at this hour? And when can I sleep call my next E-kitten?
Are you a good boy?
When Valorant first released in 2020, Riot announced that they'd be implementing a replay system to allow players to review their footage and their past gameplay through the client itself. Soon kind of changed to it's coming, maybe someday we'll get it, and we continue to get cryptic messages about it every time we asked. And then radio silence. And as you can imagine, 3 years of radio silence, no new content equals Valorant players coping about cheaters being in the game and the lack of a replay system, meaning that we can't verify if they're cheaters or not. Now, I know I've been very, very critical of Riot Games as of late with a lot of my videos because the game is really fucking boring right now. But you might want to keep the Donut Inspector away from this particular video because I'm about to lay on some thick glazing that will probably break a few regulations. Valorant as an FPS game or a first-person shooter has the best netcode, matchmaking, and anti-cheat system of any first-person shooter or competitive first-person shooter in the market right now. It's not even close. And a little bit of a wake-up call to you guys stuck in, whatever ELO you're stuck in. You're not stuck in there because little Jimmy is hacking or cheating in silver. If stormtroopers are hitting more shots than you, you know it's bad. So we've established that Riot isn't delaying the replay system because they want to hide how bad their game is. So why is there a delay? After the 50 millionth Reddit post asking where the heck a replay system is, a Riot dev finally responded. Hey all, I just wanted to address a couple of topics here as we've seen this question raised a few times. Up front, the replay system is still coming and there are a number of complex factors that go into why there is no replay system yet. For example, one of the challenges we're trying to solve is the issue with storing replays. When it comes to what we prioritize in development now, we are still using the same razors and principles that we did before we launched the game. The same frameworks that have led us to 128-tick servers, premier investment in anti-cheat, and our evergreen promise of providing the best competitive shooter experience for players. If it doesn't seem like we're talking about the why enough, it's because we typically don't talk about something in development until we can make real commitments around dates and details. And that does make sense. If they do commit and they say that there is a date that they're coming out with it, end of 2023, and 2023 comes around the end of it and they don't release the replay system, well, nothing really happens because people are too hooked to the game. But essentially, it's still a way of managing expectations. It's good that they're managing expectations in a way. We would like a bit more communication around it, but this is, in my opinion, good enough. We're still going to bring in a replay system, and absolutely the process of adding the system has been more challenging than we initially thought, hence why the sort of radio silence. We're being thoughtful in how we balance its development against new game modes, features, and other content so we can make sure to deliver a great and consistent experience for all. Typically, replay systems in video games record live each player's input and how they affected the game at certain times, and they record it as records in a database. So when a player requests a replay or to view a replay, those records are queried from the database and a map is built with those queries on a timeline. Now, this is a major oversimplification of how it actually works, but even that oversimplification sounds a bit confusing. Valorant is a really, really complicated game. Apart from the meowing and purring that you hear every other game, the actual gameplay itself is complicated. There's a lot of abilities, there's a lot of different ways that abilities interact with each other, and to top that off, unlike other games, it runs 128-tick servers. Tick rate, for those of you who don't know, is basically how many times a server refreshes for information per second. So 128-tick servers means it refreshes 128 times per second for information. That's 128 records per second for just one piece of information. So that replay system will have to store that exact information of every agent, their abilities, the inputs that their players made, however many shots they made, however many shots connected, how much damage those shots did, etc. 128 times per second for each record. And if you factor in how long games take, 30 to 40 minutes, that's a lot of information. So the infrastructure to store that, not only store it, but have it readily available for a player to request to view the replay anytime, is complicated, it's complex, and this is assuming that Riot goes with this method of making a replay. They might have their own in-house method of viewing a replay, and not to mention that all of this information has to be server-side. As cheat creators would have a field day if they could download all this information client-side. In that sense, I actually understand why it's taking so long for a replay system to come through. It does make sense. I think what would help is if Riot shared a little bit of the development process of the replay system, where they're at, what the challenges are, etc, etc. They don't have to provide a timeline, but for those of us who are tech savvy, I would say it's probably good to have something like that for us to go through and look through. And I think they used to do something like that for League of Legends. So I went and checked, and they actually did do this before with Valorant, before it released, or actually during release on 2020. They did a couple of articles about how they do sort of their anti-cheat, how they do their peeking, but for some reason they stopped doing it with Valorant. It's been a while since they did something for Valorant, and I'm not sure why. Now that I'm done glazing though, I will voice my disappointment, specifically seasonal events. Most live service games, whenever the seasonal event comes around, they'll do something to sort of commemorate the seasonal event, whether it be reskinning some maps, providing some in-game items that are sort of that seasonal nature, some animations that are of the seasonal nature. Most recent example, the finals, what they did was they reskinned one of their maps, and they changed some of the objects on it as well. They reskinned some of the objects to go from regular objects like plant pots, etc., to gifts like presents, like your Santa. Basically, you can grab those presents and throw them around like your Santa. But the neat thing is as well, with the finals, is you as a heavy or as a light main, you could put breach charges on regular objects, throw them at people, and detonate them at range, causing some considerable damage or even netting you some kills. That's just with regular objects. With the reskin, however, you can now do this with gifts. So it looks like you're basically Santa running around with explosive gifts.
I see gift.
I see gift. Let's go, comrade.
Enemy right here.
Oh no, comrade is dead. Oh.
Comrade. Very well placed present.
And while it's not a massive change, it's still something that's really, really cool and unique that brings to the game. It makes you make your own fun out of the same system that exists within the game. However, with Valorant, have done nothing. Nothing at all. There's been nothing at all. And what's crazy is that there is already a mode that exists for Riot that they released earlier that was basically like a snowball fight mode. You would shoot snowballs at the other team, and the team that wins is basically the one that eliminated the other with a snowball. I don't really understand why that hasn't made a comeback. So while I do understand why the replay system is taking a long time, I don't understand why we don't have any seasonal events. Seasonal events or this sort of thing not only refreshes the game for people who are playing this game for a while, it also provides content creators something new to do and talk about, and more videos to create, rather than the same 8-minute ranked highlights that you see every other day to get that sweet ad revenue. So that's the video. I hope you understand why it's taking so long for a replay system to come through. I hope Riot starts to be a bit more vocal about the actual development process of the replay system, and I hope they put a bit more effort as well into the actual game itself that exists currently. I mean, if a replay system takes another 2 to 3 years, you might not have a community to be able to actually use that in 2 to 3 years if you don't refresh the actual game we're playing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a thumbs up. If you disliked, thumbs down, but let me know in the comments why you disliked as well. I'm really, really interested to know. With that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace out.